What's up, everybody? How's it going out there? Nicholas Wildstar, Libertarian candidate for California governor, soon to be Libertarian candidate for mayor of Anaheim. If you haven't heard by now, I have announced that I will be running for mayor of Anaheim since the elections are now over for the gubernatorial race, and all of the candidates that were able to get the majority of the votes are now proceeding through to the top two. So we'll only have two candidates to choose from thanks to the primary election, where it fixed it to where there's only two candidates on the ballot in the general election in November. But thankfully, there's certain cities that have their own ballots for their own city official positions. And the city of Anaheim, since the mayor there has been termed out, he is going to be leaving. And a few city council members have already announced that they're going to be running, and they're very well known, and they have horrible reputations. So I'd like to come in as the only libertarian candidate and be able to hopefully capture the people's attention enough to intrigue them enough to want to do something different and vote libertarian. So I will be running for mayor of Anaheim. I'm just waiting to finalize my paperwork, but in the meantime, I have started a crowd pack account for that to get some donations and fundraising going. So if you'd like to support my effort to become mayor of Anaheim, please go to Crowd Pack and enter in Wildstar. You'll see it right there. You can make a pledge today for however much money that you would like to send, $20, $50, whatever you have. And of course, that money will not be paid to me unless I actually file. So it's safe. You'll only be making a pledge to help out depending on if I actually end up continuing forth with that. But I'm making this video here today for a few reasons, and one of them is kind of a post wrap-up of what happened with the election this year, because it was my first time running as a libertarian candidate. It's my second time running for governor of California. The first time I ran was in 2014 as an independent candidate, and as most of you may know, I got involved in community activism around 2008 or so in the Occupy movement as an anonymous protester, and kind of build up a reputation going around town protesting and rallying with people that were fed up with the system and wanted to initiate some change themselves. So I took it upon myself to start gearing that attention towards political aspirations, because I felt like, hey, why be out here complaining about these policies when we can all get elected and change these policies? So I was encouraging my fellow protesters and activists to get involved, but they didn't believe me. So, but I did let them know I was running for governor, and quickly became known as Governor Wildstar, and pretty much parlayed that attention and success to another gubernatorial campaign for 2018 for governor of California, which was picking up there in the beginning. But I ended up choosing to run on a libertarian platform shortly after hearing a interview by the then presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, John McAfee. If you guys know who he is, John McAfee of McAfee Antivirus. He ran for president in 2016 and just recently announced that he will be running again in 2020. So I'd like to formally endorse John McAfee for president in 2020. I love the guy. If you check him out, he's just out of the box. And he's exactly what this country needs. Somebody that's in full understanding of the Constitution, its application to government and to we the people. And that's what we need, is somebody willing to challenge the system by getting involved themselves. I challenge you all to get involved in the system and do something different. We need more candidates, more representatives of the people. So I originally got inspired into libertarianism by Dr. Ron Paul, but did not become a member of the Libertarian Party until I had heard of John McAfee. And I was very well aware of him before his announcement, and saw I was very involved in the info wars. I was an Alex Jones fan and saw an interview between him and McAfee, and he just kind of put me on his radar. He came up on my radar thanks to that interview. So ever since then, I was paying more attention to him, and then he announced that he was running for president on his own political party, and then chose to run as a Libertarian because he felt like it was more in alignment of his own personal ideas and desires for government, as well as it being the third largest platform in the nation. You only have three parties that have nationwide access. That's the Republicans, the Democrats, and the Libertarians. So if you ever want to have a chance to challenge the two-party system without having to go around fundraising hundreds of millions of dollars to get national ballot access, that it would best suit you to run as a Libertarian. And if you're running in the state party, it would behoove you to also run as a Libertarian, not only because of the national recognition, but in certain states such as here in California, the Libertarians have ballot access. They have already paved the way and made it easy for someone such as myself to come along as a Libertarian Party member and run as a candidate and get that notoriety needed to be taken seriously as a candidate and have that platform backing to support. So I was coming in as an activist, hoping that that structure was there, knowing all of this about the Libertarian Party, and it wasn't. Unfortunately, the Libertarians just don't have that body needed to kind of strengthen the individual and the candidates that run for office and make those policy changes. So it's still uphill battle pretty much. And it's a lack of funding mostly because the Republicans and Democrats have millions of dollars funneled into their party. The Libertarians are all volunteers. The executive committee and the local parties for city to city across each county are volunteers, people taking time out of their day-to-day lives, whether it be work, school, or family, kids, whatever the case may be, to help out in the community and get other people involved in the party as well as inspired to run for office. So I learned this very quickly coming into the Libertarian Party, just attending a few of the meetings here in Orange County, and met a lot of great people. But the minute I announced that I was running for governor, I got this kind of sideways look as if I'm trying to co-opt them or, take away something sacred of theirs. And that's only because you running for an executive position for a party kind of tends to put you in this leader position for the party. That's not something I was seeking to do, and nor is it something that I'm seeking to do now at this point. I'm a leader in my own right and will always continue to drive the force towards the liberty movement and freedom for all. So I was hoping that I would come into an atmosphere where that would be embraced, opposed to being, second guessed. But it was a little bit of A and a little bit of B. You had people that supported me and, accepted me wholeheartedly, or you had other people that looked at me sideways and, questioned my intentions, all the way up until the election. So coming in as a Libertarian, I was hoping that body was there, was hoping that I'd be embraced as a candidate, and kind of had to bump and run and find my own way. And that's something that the Libertarian Party itself is retooling and doing itself here on a grassroots level. So if you'd like to get involved in the Libertarian Party, I implore you to please become a member if you haven't already. No matter what city you are in, become a member of the Libertarian Party and help out those in need, because we are just people of the community coming together to fight for this good cause, which is liberty, justice for all, and bring back some integrity to the position of politicians with our candidates. So with that said, I'd like to talk about the individuals that I voted for. because coming into a political party, of course, as I said to you just now, you're looked at as being questionable in what your intentions are. And then when you're running for office, it's even more in question, because it's like, what are your intentions? What is your agenda? And that's something I myself became deterred to follow a political party or get involved with a political party with after claiming to be a Democrat. So if you're claiming to be a Republican or Democrat, you're just doing so for namesake. If you're not doing so out of principle and values and moral, ethical kind of connection that you may have with what they do, then you're just going with the party for namesake. And I was doing that as a black man. You know, I just was automatically coupled into the Democratic Party and was told don't vote for the other party because they're prejudiced. So I just voted Democrat all the way up until I wised up to the two-party system, how broken it is, especially after the election of Barack Obama, and started voting for whatever candidate I wanted to. So I considered myself no party preference. There's actually more no party preference registered voters in the state of California than there are any other party. So it's terribly imbalanced here. You know, more people are reluctant to believing politicians and political parties altogether. I was one of them. So coming into the party, I had that skepticism myself, especially with the response I was getting in saying that I was running for a candidate, and even had to kind of finagle my way into the party itself to be taken seriously as a candidate. When I entered the party, I let them know that I was running for governor, and instead of me being contacted by someone saying, hey, what can I do to help you? I ended up having to contact them, and that's actually how I got into the convention in last April. A lot of people don't know that, but I hustled my way onto the stage that day, pretty much after reaching out to the coordinators of that maybe a month or so before that happened. So met a lot of great people in the Libertarian Party, and they've helped me along the way. And in speaking in individuals and other people in the party, other candidates, trying to find out what it is that they wanted themselves, I myself had to go with my heart. And as a person, I'm always going to be one that follows their heart and responds more to energy. I don't play politics. I don't care about the politics of political parties. It's all just beneath me. And it should be beneath anyone that wants to honestly make a change politically by getting involved with a political party. So I was hoping that that would be the same sentiment amongst all of the people in the Libertarian Party, but unfortunately that is not true. You still have people that feel otherwise and for their own personal reasons. So with that said, I'd like to talk about the people that I ended up voting for, because I've gotten a little bit of backlash because I voted outside of party lines and all of that good stuff, but I don't really care about any of that at all. So, for first up, I would like to talk about the Senate race. Mr. Derek Michael Reed. I met Mr. Reed, DMR, I call him. I met him online first. He contacted me talking about, you know, he wanted to find out more about me, and since we were both in Orange County, that he'd like to connect and create sort of this synergy to go ahead and start campaigning together to get our name out there, since we're both running statewide races. So I was communicating back and forth with him online until I met him in person at a event, and he was just as wonderful in person as he was in his writing. So that was very refreshing to see in person and know of his character, that he was true and through. And we had wonderful conversations from then up until now. And one of the things I would like to say about why I chose to not vote for him was because of one situation that we had. We took a road trip together to Pierce College, and he knows this story. But along that way, we had some discussions, and it was mainly about him not receiving the endorsement, a formal endorsement of the Libertarian Party of California, and he was upset because he hadn't. And he was talking about some of the issues why he felt like he wasn't, and they tend to reflect more of Republican ideals. And I expressed that to him, and he said, well, I'm a libertarian-leaning Republican. I'm like, well, in that case, you're not a libertarian, so why would they endorse you? Because they can see through that, you know? So he's talking about supporting the border wall and kicking out immigrants and letting in ICE agents and people on welfare and social welfare programs. I mean, whatever. Regardless of your opinion, when it boils down to you taking an oath to uphold the United States Constitution, that's your job. And it's sad that a lot of people that get involved with politics end up losing that sight. That is the agreement. So if you're going to have your own personal biases or judgments or opinions, you need to leave it at the door when you take that oath and when you go to vote. And I asked him, I said, hey, if the Republicans say we're going to vote to, or basically everybody in the Senate, since you're now a senator, if they say we're going to vote to build this wall, would you vote for it or would you vote against it? And he said, well, I would have to go with the majority. I said, wrong answer, man. You're supposed to be the opposition. You're supposed to say, no, I'm not going to. If I got to stand out here and filibuster all night on the floor and say no, and express why constitutionally that is wrong, then you're not doing the job correctly. And aside from me being a candidate, I'm a person of the community. I'm a voter myself. I'm a citizen that lives in the country. So I would be living with the result of his choice. So I definitely don't want to support that. And I let him know right then and there that I would not be voting for him because of that. Or endorse him because of that fact, which is okay, you know, because we shouldn't have to fall within party lines just because of that. But I did support his campaign and still do, and reserve judgment and to say anything about him or express my own personal opinions about him and his campaign up until now. So what I have to say now doesn't reflect on the results that have already happened, or for anybody else that I'm going to be speaking about in this manner, because not only did I not speak about issues with my reluctance to support him, but other people. But the reason why I chose to support Gerald Plummer, which is the candidate that I selected for United States Senator on the ballot, who ran as a Democrat, believe it or not, is because I met him in person. I went to an event with Derek Michael Reed and Gerald Plummer, and we did this late night show. It was wonderful at a theater, and they had a Senate debate and then they had a gubernatorial debate. It's called This Is the Dark Matters. You can check it out. I got a clip on my YouTube channel if you want to check out the gubernatorial chat. But in the senators' exchange, just in hearing the two of them talk and in meeting Gerald myself, he was the candidate. And before then, I was going to put in NOTA, which is none of the above. So if you put it in OTA, that's what that means. None of the above. So I planned on voting NOTA, but ended up, after hearing that exchange between them, swaying towards supporting Gerald. So that's why I voted Gerald Plummer. He's a great guy. And would have been a great senator as well. I definitely believe Derek Michael Reed would have been a great senator also, which is why I support both of them and hope that they definitely continue to fight the good fight and continue to run for office. All right. And thank you, James, for chiming in on the video. Hey, everybody that's watching, I just want to say hi. You're welcome to wave. Ask me any questions. I'll do my best to answer them as I go along here explaining. But, hey, Be proud of your vote. That's why I'm talking about all of this right now, is because I'm proud of who I voted for. All right, I know a lot of people are be like, you can't say who you voted for. No, why is that? Because you're ashamed of who you voted for? That's the only reason why you would be in denial of sharing that information with anyone. I'm happy to say who I voted for. I'm happy to say why I voted for them, and I'm proud to share that information with any of you. So that's the Senate race. Next up is Secretary of State. So the reason why I did not select Gail Lightfoot as the candidate on my ballot for Secretary of State is for multiple reasons. Not out of dislike at all. Gail is a wonderful lady, and she's done a tremendous amount of work in building up the Libertarian Party and making sure that someone like me could be able to speak to people like you and run as a libertarian and be recognized as a candidate statewide. So if it wasn't for people like her, then the libertarians wouldn't be where they are today. So much thanks to you, Gail Lightfoot. Earlier, I actually voted for Gail too, twice before, when I was a no party preference voter, and before I became a member of the party or met her in person. So definitely am supportive of her. And when I became a libertarian, as I said, there was a lot of reluctance that I was getting from people that I was talking to, kind of like the standoffishness, and where they'd reach out one moment and then I call them on it and nothing, And that sort of happened between me and Gail. I'm pretty sure the reason why she wasn't able to respond as much as she would is because she has her own life. She has her own things. And not to mention, she's running for Secretary of State. So she had to focus on a lot. And once I had went to meet her at the convention, that's actually when she endorsed me as a candidate. I endorsed her way before she endorsed me, which wasn't until the Libertarian Party convention in Long Beach back in this April. But at a previous event, that debate at Pierce College, I had met Michael Feinstein, the Green Party candidate for Secretary of State. And up until then, I wasn't sold on voting for any candidate. And then I met Michael Feinstein, I endorsed Gail and met Michael Feinstein, and the guy was wonderful too. I mean, I liked the things that he was saying, and you can look him up. Yeah, absolutely, look him up. But Mike Feinstein, he was a wonderful guy too, and definitely would be a great representative of we the people. And I saw that in him and endorsed him too. Hey, what's up, Josh? Thanks for chiming in and watching the video, bro. I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible, so you guys just stick with me here. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but thank you for sitting down and talk all this out with me. So I met Mike Feinstein. I endorsed him. Originally endorsed Gail Lightfoot. Still wasn't sold on who I was going to vote for. Still thinking NODA. And then I met C.T. Weber. And that guy, I tell you, all I can say is it's like meeting Santa Claus when you're a kid. As excited as you are, you meet him and you're like, wow, Santa Claus. That's how I felt meeting C.T. Weber. He just has this wonderful aura and presence, and the way that he talks to you is very inviting, and I don't know, he schmoozed me, all right? That's all I got to say. And I actually found out from him that the Libertarians, the Peace and Freedom Party, and the Green Party all used to be the same party. And then it just broke up into three different factions based on ideals. The Green Party felt like policies needed to be focused on protecting the planet, which is all fine and dandy, which is why they then became the Green Party. The Peace and Freedom Party focuses more on socialism aspects and think that government should be the provider of, social welfare programs and taking care of everyone, which is fine. And that's why they're now the Peace and Freedom Party. And the Libertarians just believe that government's job should be to stay out of people's business. So, and now we have the Libertarian Party promoting liberty. So that's why I'm over here with them. But I find a little bit of love in everybody just based on the people that are involved. So after meeting C.T. Weber, I was finalized on supporting C.T. Weber for Secretary of State. So that's why I voted C.T. Weber. All right. But again, much love to Gail. No hard feelings. I love you dearly, and I'm very thankful for your endorsement and all that you've done to help me get more notoriety. And I wish we could have worked more together earlier in my campaign leading up until the election. But even still, I definitely support you and think you should continue to run and continue to represent the party because they definitely cannot do it without you. And last but not least, while the other two were hard choices to kind of steer away from the party, break ranks, Tim Ferreira for lieutenant governor kind of made it easy. And I'm going to tell you why. And Tim knows this. So everybody out there, you can find this information for yourself, or you can speak to Tim yourself, or people that were there that know the situation should know themselves. But in running for lieutenant governor, I met Tim Ferreira at a Orange County meeting, I believe, and I introduced myself as the governor candidate. He introduced himself as a lieutenant governor candidate, and you would think somewhere there would be some bit of a connection, but there was still that kind of second guessing going on. And I could sense that from him. And he wasn't completely sold on me as a candidate, as a person. He was very supportive and liked the fact that I was running and felt like I was a better choice for being a representative for the Libertarian Party on the governor's ticket other than Zoltan Isvan, the transhumanist. So this is where the conflict comes into play. Is although he may have said that, and I asked him earlier, I said, hey, well, can I get your endorsement? And he let me know he'd like to remain neutral because depending on what happens with his outcome of his election, he would have to work with either candidate depending on who won. So if Zoltan won and he endorsed me, he would feel like, I guess for some reason, that it would be harder for him to work with Zoltan. But no matter who the candidate won that would have won for governor, he would have had to work with him anyway, whether it be a Zoltan, another Libertarian, or a Republican or Democrat for that matter. So that would have been his job as lieutenant governor, is to come in and work with whatever candidate that wins the governor's race. So I understood that. No harm, no foul, right? So moving along. The Libertarian Party convention comes up, and up until now, I haven't gotten the official the official endorsement of the Libertarian Party because there was a motion made back earlier in the year to push it to the delegation and allow them to choose, which was good and bad. Good because you're going to allow the majority of people, members of the Libertarian Party, to actually be able to choose. Bad because you're closing a window of opportunity. When the state officials go to print out the voter handbooks, in the beginning they show a list of endorsed candidates based on their party. So the Libertarian Party had an opportunity to put down all of the candidates that were endorsed by the party right there, so voters would come there and they would know. And because they didn't do that, they missed the deadline. So none of the gubernatorial candidates or none of the candidates that were endorsed up until that point, including Derek Michael Reed, wasn't included in that endorsement list. So that kind of shot down the opportunities that could have come from being officially stamped and endorsed the candidate then. But no problem, okay, here we are at the convention, and now we have the delegation. And I'm believing, of course, I'm going to win the majority because I've already gained up in 6 or 7 county affiliates endorsements up until then. And I had been the most actively involved candidate for California governor for the Libertarian Party. So I was assuming and hoping that once this happened, that I would get the endorsement unanimously, which I did. But this was only after the party had voted to endorse both candidates. The reason why they chose to do so was mostly on part of Tim Ferreira getting up and making a speech to endorse both candidates, simply because he felt like, why eliminate the opportunity to have two candidates on the general election ballot in November, since we had the top two primary? If we could have a runoff between the two and have them both proceed, it would be better for the Libertarian Party, which is a load of crap, to be honestly, because they didn't believe that either one of us could be able to get through to the top two. So it's just all smoke and mirrors and a show, pretty much at that point. But the motion was made and it was passed. So I came to the convention and was congratulated for being endorsed, but then also told at the same time that both candidates had been endorsed. And I'm like, okay, well, and you know, I found this out later. So thankfully, due to Robert Imoff making a motion on the floor, thank you so much, Robert. He pulled for me, him and his wife, Jenny Imoff. They did their best to just fight for me in every way, shape, and form. But Robert made a motion on the floor to then have both nominations rescinded, which they did, that passed, and then to make an endorsement for each candidate individually. So I got this motion passed also, and I was able to speak with the delegation, and I made a speech and let them know, hey, I became a libertarian because I see this is a party of leaders. Leaders make other leaders, and everybody in the Libertarian Party is a leader in their own right, and has kind of showed me the way in how to become a better leader. And I just pretty much wanted to reciprocate that to the masses, to show them why the libertarians can lead the way towards a more free society. So after me making this speech, and you can all see this video, it's on the Libertarian Party of California on their YouTube channel. You can watch the whole executive committee video from the convention. You can see all this for yourself. So it's not you know, it's a matter of public record, and it's not a secret. But I get up there, I make this speech, and all of the people up there, you know, they make a motion to endorse me, and I get unanimously endorsed by the delegation with no dispute. So I was very proud about that. But immediately after, Tim Ferreira got up again and spoke on behalf of Zoltan, who wasn't even there, to pretty much support that he again be supported as a candidate for governor. And the only reason why I could suspect that such a thing would happen is because of money. And money plays a big part in politics. I don't know if he paid him, if he donated to his campaign, whatever the case may be. But if it's a matter of boiling down the principle to say that he's as equal of a great candidate based on his understanding of libertarianism versus mine, that's an outright lie. If you look up anything about transhumanism, even if it is your belief or ideology, to apply it politically is wrong. And for a candidate to get up and say, once I get into office, I'm going to build a robot army, you know, and armed drones, and create this universal basic income off of selling off, you know, the beach, pretty much, the beaches of California. No. I mean, come on, man. That has nothing to do with libertarianism at all. But if and this is my argument for such a consideration of a person, is if he was a white supremacist, which there are, that are in Florida and Arkansas and other places of the country that claim to be libertarians and are running as libertarians, would you then make a motion to endorse that candidate? No, I would hope not. But if that be the same argument, is that they have the clear understanding of libertarianism, and for that reason both candidates should be supported, then at that point it seemed more so as being a consolation prize. So to where mine was given to me out of gratitude and out of thanks, I believe, it seemed like the endorsement for Zoltan was done more so out of pity. And it's sad that that happened. And we ended up walking away with 2 candidates endorsed for governor that day. So this was reflected also in a few stories about how this came about. And when I went to a few Libertarian Party members, I went to the Libertarian Party meeting in Ventura, and as soon as I hit the door, I was approached by members there asking me, what happened at the convention? Why are there 2 candidates, you know? And I'm like, hey, I don't know. And I was told, well, hey, we support you. We've looked into both candidates, and we definitely feel like you're the better spokesman of libertarianism as well as being a representative of the party. So I'm very thankful for them recognizing that, and I wish that the Libertarian Party itself had seen more value in my campaign, because I really feel like that could have been a key thing to help make or break my success, as well as could possibly have propelled me even further to make an even bigger dent in this 2018 election. So because of that, I was turned off to supporting or voting for Tim Ferreira, and was considering to vote none of the above. But thanks to meeting Green Party candidate Chris Carlson, I love that guy. I met Chris Carlson, again, online, because he contacted me and said, hey, I'm another candidate running for governor, and I see that you're a musician too, and I'm a musician, so let's connect. And we kept in touch online, and then finally met in person. And when we had the interview with the LA Times and hung out, and that guy is fantastic. And I'm very happy to have met him, because we need more people like him in office also. So that is why I chose to write him in as my lieutenant governor candidate, because were I to win as governor, were to have won as governor, I would love to have worked with Chris Carlson as my lieutenant governor candidate. So that is why I wrote him in. That is why I voted the way that I did. And another thing about the whole stabbing in the back kind of feel, the insurrection and mutiny going on in the Libertarian Party, because it happens just as it does in every party. So why would it not happen in the Libertarian Party? Is the identity issues. Just as I was talking about with Zoltan and him being a transhumanist, it happened with Stevante Clark, who I brought onto my campaign as my campaign manager, first my media relations coordinator, but then made him my campaign manager. And he went out to a Libertarian Party meeting, and of course this guy is my eyes and ears, and so much bad stuff was said about me that once he came back and told me all of this, I'm like, why would I believe anything that you guys got to say to me at that point? And I'm always going to be cordial, and you know, I enjoy pleasantries of formalities, so I'll shake your hand and, you know, be nice to you. But I know who you are, and you know who you are, and what your true intentions are. And when it boils down to who we are as people, party BS aside, who are you? You know, do you really care about people? Do you really care about fighting a good fight? Do you really care about using your position to help those in need and doing your job constitutionally as said? So let's see. I'm going to Newsom for one reason. I don't want John Cox. I would say don't vote for either. Wait until Joshua Smith is chair of the party. I want to talk about that, because that's why I got the Josh Smith banner down here. Thank you for bringing that up, Jeremy. Because, excuse me, not only is the state party dropping the ball, but the national party is dropping the ball too. Okay? I went to the Libertarian Party of California, their convention, and I met Nick Sarwark. And he's a great guy too. Don't get it twisted. But when it comes to helping the candidates, what are you guys doing? You're doing nothing. I met Josh Smith before I met Nick Sarwark. I met him thanks to Kevin Shaw and Think Liberty, something that they created to help underground libertarians. So how were they able to locate me, find out more about me, help me get more exposure as a candidate when the National Party did nothing? So that's why I am formally endorsing Joshua Smith as the as the chair of the Libertarian National Party. So please vote Joshua Smith. I'm going to do my best to get down there as a delegate from California and vote for him. So if you want to help me get to New Orleans July 4th weekend, please go to governorwildstar.com. That is governorwildstar.com. That's my first website, people. But go there, make a donation, help me, help him, help you, help the LP, and we can rebuild the party from the inside out. I mean, just the fact that someone such as Arvin Vohra is still considered to be a spokesman of the party is extremely disheartening. And when it comes to your position, again, we're putting people in position to be spokesmen of the party. So when this happens and you're using that soapbox, to whether it's your own personal opinion or not, it reflects on everyone else. And being a great leader, you need to be able to exercise some restraint. And sadly, Vohra does not exercise much restraint, which is why I'm also endorsing Alex Merced as the vice chair for the Libertarian National Party of National Libertarian Party. So Joshua Smith, Alex Merced, got to vote those two. All right. I haven't met anyone else. Don't care, I'm sold on those two. Nelson says, LP needs leadership. Keep going. The end goal is more liberty, period. Exactly. And that's why we need great leaders like you. So you stay in this also. And we gonna purge the party of people who don't belong. All we got to do, really, is just muscle them out. Okay? They can talk all they want. They can call themselves Libertarian Party members. But when it comes to us picking our candidates and picking our board representatives and our affiliate members, people that are going out in the community speaking on behalf of the Libertarian Party, we need to pick them better, okay? So I'm going to get personally involved more in the Libertarian Party of Orange County to make sure that our group is good. So if you're in Orange County and want to join the Libertarian Party, I'm going to be a part of it, a very instrumental part of it. So please contact us, all right? And Joshua Hancock, he says, your speaking made you the more viable candidate. Zoltan was negative, condescending, etc. Your speaking will get you far in politics. Thank you, Joshua. And yours too, man. You got a heart of gold. People, you lost a good one when you didn't elect Joshua Hancock down there in San Diego. So, Josh, please continue to stick at it, brother. Anything that I can do to help you, help me, and help liberty, please just let me know. We need to stick in this fight together. Nelson says, politics is an ugly thing. It sure is. I learned it the hard way. And I got a compliment on Joshua Smith saying he is the man. Can't make it but vote for me in spirit. I sure will. Don't think we can vote more. No, we can't. But plan on being there as well as New Orleans. And he says, stick to the principles. The truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it. Ignorance may deride it. But in the end, there it is. Absolutely. I couldn't have said that any better, Nelson. So thank you. It is a matter of principle above party. And with the Libertarians, I think that's what makes us stand out the most is we have this kind of litmus test of are you libertarian enough when it comes to evaluating members, which is okay. But when it comes to us coming together and uniting for the cause and fighting for liberty, that's when we need to drop our indifferences and focus on the common good, the common cause here. And as I said, it's sad that the Libertarian Party itself did not see more value in my campaign. I mean, we just got to be honest. I would have been able to capture the minority vote. They know that. I know that. But because there wasn't any investment in seeing that that could be a great possibility to get us a win, there wasn't much of a financial investment. There wasn't much of a investment in manpower or resources, etc. And there's been a shift in leadership, so hopefully that will change. And moving forward, again, you can definitely consider me to be a instrumental part in that rebuilding and structuring, because we got a lot of work to do. The people need to know the Libertarian Party is the party for the people, regardless of what your race may be. We have racist people in all parties, you know, and it's sad because I go out and I tell people of color, hey, the Democrats, they don't care about you. They don't. So if you keep voting Democrat, you're just basically doing so out of the pack mentality and for name's sake. And stop doing that. Start doing it with your conscience. Start voting with your conscience. Start choosing with your conscience. Think about it. So when I tell people that Democrat supporters that the party was founded by members that started the KKK and pretty much went through this whole transition of being, you know, this racist party to supposedly being the party for racial injustice is kind of absurd, because Martin Luther King was a Republican, and when he was fighting to restore voters' rights for all, including us, people of color, he was a Republican making that speech. So it's sad that people don't look at history. One of the first black senators was Republican. The Republican Party itself was one that fought for freedom for all. That's why Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican. Somebody who had to fight tooth and nail just to have that argument be heard. He ran 6 times for president before he was elected. Each time it grew more and more, but the Republican idea was new. It was actually the same party to begin with, the Republican Democratic Party. And it splintered into 2 just based on this argument. A lot of people don't do their homework. Go out there, find out. Abraham Lincoln, first Republican, and signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and supposedly, you know, gave black people their freedom, opposed to just upholding the Constitution, because we already had it. But another step of government involvement, and the ways that we can kind of get back to the basics here is just by making sure that our representatives are people that represent us, and that know that the Constitution is where their job ends and begins. That's it. So the one thing about the Devontae Clark involvement that I kind of want to drop on you guys is once he did get involved, it automatically was assumed that Black Lives Matter has taken over the Libertarian Party. Well, I hate to bust your bubble, but I am not Black Lives Matter, and Devontae Clark is not Black Lives Matter. If you don't know who Devontae Clark is, he is the brother of Stephon Clark. He was a 22-year-old black man that was shot and killed in his grandparents' backyard by Sacramento Police Department earlier this year. He had a cell phone in his hand, and police officers shot at him 20 times, and they killed him. While the family has been grieving their loss and attempting to go on with living their lives as usual and having that heartache bear on their soul, Devontae has buried that and has been out there fighting for the cause, fighting for criminal reform and injustice in our criminal justice department. And of course, against the killing of his brother, as well as has been an advocate for mental health reform. So because of his antics, I liken him to somewhat of the personality of maybe a, what's his name, the comedian, Eddie Griffin or something like that. What's that? Eddie Griffith. Oh, thank you. And what's his Richard Pryor? That's another one. Loud, crass, probably will say some things just off of the cuff and uncensored that you wouldn't expect, but got a heart of gold, and has more love in their heart than you know. And it's sad that someone such as himself, after having to deal with this tragic situation, ended up being drugged through the mud. They threw him in. They threw him in jail. They threw him in mental institutions twice, all because of him dealing with his grief in his own way. And their response was to institutionalize him. And this was society's response, the system's response, opposed to mine. I came in, I introduced myself to him. He had a vigil for his brother, and I met him at the event and befriended him then. And shortly after that, he asked me to become his mentor, and I've been in constant communication with him ever since then. And that has grown to him saying, hey, well, I want to get involved in political change too. So where Black Lives Matter came along in this situation, took this shooting, sensationalized it, used it to promote their agenda, I came in and I said, hey, the same thing they want you to do, you can do even better over here. Get involved politically, okay? Black Lives Matter is all of us. We care about black lives. We care about white lives. We care about Asian lives. We care about lives. Everybody loves everybody, and love should be the focus. And Stevante knew that. So when Black Lives Matter came along and started to co-opt his organization, or pardon me, his protests and rallies and stuff like that, he started to see this for himself. And he actually shut down a few of them. A lot of people don't know that. He actually shut down a few of the protests outside of the King Center, because before his brother got killed, he used to work at the King Center as a security guard of all things. If you can believe that, okay? So the same guy that used to work security at the King Center is now out there telling protesters out there that are, you know, supposedly protesting his brother's death to go home. And shutting down freeways, it was all counterproductive and a waste of time. This is the way to do it. And he knows it, I know it, and that's why we're libertarians. That's why we're involved in the party. That's why we're going to get an influx of more people of color and minorities into the party, because we're going to be able to relay that message to people in our inner cities and those in our community that care about these issues. So if you're racist and then you're in the Libertarian Party, you might want to sit on a lot of your thoughts and beliefs, especially when it comes to our presidential candidates. They need to have the support of everyone. If you are alienating any group, it's not ever going to help you be able to get a presidential candidate elected. You need to galvanize everybody. And while we're going to get people away from the Democrats for being the party that lies to people of color and have been using their vote, using their people power, and the Republicans that used to be fighters for freedom and equality are now racist, separatists, we need you here in the Libertarian Party. We need you all, because the Libertarian Party is full of people that see the racist people that are in control of both parties, and they don't like them either. And they are white people, and they know that there's a whole bunch of racist white people on the other side. So they want to shut it all down too. We need everybody here collectively together. And this is why the Libertarian Party is the party of the people. We got to start promoting that message and letting them know that the individual is celebrated here. You're not tolerated. You're welcome with open arms. A lot of people don't know the Libertarian Party were the first party to fight for equality rights for the lesbian, gay, and trans community, the LGBT community. They were the first ones to fight for your rights, okay? To fight for income inequality, or income equality for women, okay? We need to focus on what's really the principles here that we're fighting for, that these political parties that we throw our support behind. So Black Lives Matter is in is in the Libertarian Party, and is by way of those people that care about Black lives, such as myself. I don't care about the organization or their political agenda or whatever the case may be. Matter of fact, the Black Lives Matter organization does not support me. And I will tell you why. And I will read to you this email that I actually got from them. Because I was asked by Stevante to contact them. This was when he wanted me to reach out to Black Lives Matter and help them orchestrate rallies and protests to help bring attention to my campaign, since I was now working with him and was chosen by him to be his candidate for governor. So I reached out to them and I sent them an email, and it says this. Hello, my name is Nicholas Wildstar. I am running for California governor. I'm reaching out to you on behalf of the family of Stephon Clark to request assistance from you to get more attention about my campaign. Please feel free to review the following video of me making a statement regarding the family's position. This is on my YouTube. You can click it. As well as an audio endorsement from Stevante Clark, also on my YouTube channel. Once you have had a chance to review and confirm this information, feel free to contact me as soon as possible. Gave my telephone number and said, long live liberty. And I got a response back. This was sent to the Black Lives Matter organization of Sacramento. They wrote back, who are you? Never heard of you. Have you come out and fought for black liberation? Anyway, so I responded back. Anybody that knows Governor Wildstar know that I'm a black man fighting for liberation for all of us. Not just black people, but for all people. People, okay? So I wrote back, as I stated in my previous email, my name is Nicholas Wildstar, and I'm a candidate running for California governor. I'm a libertarian, so my campaign is pretty much ignored by the mainstream media. However, you can Google me and find out as much about me as you'd like, including how I've been a freedom fighter for over a decade, and as a black man have dealt with my own battles against the justice system, a multitude of which have landed me in jail because of me taking a stance. If you know the family personally, you're welcome to verify my acquaintance with them as well as their support. I'm currently mentoring Stevante, who is being held against his will at the Sacramento Mental Health Facility, which he was held against his will for 10 days. And please let me know if there's anything we can coordinate together to help shed some light on the situation. So by then, I had already spoken to his mother and his grandmother, who his grandmother offered her support for me as governor, and said she was also out there vocally telling people, you need to vote, and just trying to wake people up. So I had spoken with the family, and they were well aware of me and my intentions to help them as a potential governor of the state. So I let them know that, and pretty much let them know that if they had been in personal communication with anybody in the family, they could have contacted them to validate that information. So I got a response back, says Black Lives Matter Sacramento doesn't endorse candidates, just ideas and initiatives or measures. So there you have it. Black Lives Matter does not support candidates. They don't. They only support ideas, initiatives, and measures. So any type of initiative or measure that be on the ballot that could potentially be harmful towards people of color or minorities, such as marijuana laws or drug laws or anything to that matter, you would think that they would step up to say something. They don't. This is how you know you're surrounded by false prophets, people. You need to start paying attention. Stop letting people play on your heartstrings and get you all amped up to get out there and do something dumb. Okay? Get smart about it. If you really want to change things, get into these voting booths and change things. When they try to pass a bill that says they're going to incriminate you for doing something that hurts no one, why are there laws for victimless crimes at all? They should all be repealed. They should all be nullified. They should all be abolished. And the people in charge that put them there should be fired for doing so. And it starts with us, we the people, stepping up to say no more. So for them to come along as an organization and say, we're not going to tell black people to support candidates that would, alleviate all of these problems altogether, such as a black man running for California governor, is absurd. So you need to start thinking about these things and start taking into accordance their own agenda. Okay? A lot of people don't know who funds Black Lives Matter, who's operating, who's pulling the strings behind this group. And we definitely know that these are people that don't really care about us at all. I got some more comments here I'm going to catch up. Let's see. He said, I don't think we can vote for LP chair. For the National Party, yes, we can. But not for the state party. That won't be until August or April of next year. Churchill said it. I can't do a quote that good. That's a good one, Nelson. Yeah, it's always some good quotes out there. Thanks for sharing. And Nelson says, Democrats are the most racist sometimes. Yes, they are. I met a ton of people that claim to be Democrat that were very racist. So the Libertarian Party, Joshua says, the Libertarian Party will never win without big money. I'm thinking about starting a non-profit and a Liberty PAC. Yes, the PAC. Definitely, for sure. We need a Liberty PAC going. Chris Roofer was toying around with this idea. So if you want to reach out to Chris Roofer of the Morningstar Company and let him know that you would like to get involved with developing that Liberty PAC, I'm pretty sure he'd be more than happy to hear you out. We do have a lot of so-called libertarians that are very well off that can be extremely instrumental in making sure that the libertarians have at least a little bit of seed money to get started. If it wasn't for Chris Roofer donating to my campaign, I wouldn't have gotten as far as I would have had. But I had to reach out to him. So let's make sure that we're reaching out to each other, these people that can help. All of these so-called celebritarians, whatever they're called, pull their card. Drew Carey, Penn Jillette, all these people. Tim Allen, if they're calling themselves a libertarian and want to put their money where their mouth is, let's see. All right? Nelson says liberty is about being human. Non-aggression is our principle. Exactly. The libertarian principle, so everyone knows this, is our goal is to make sure that our candidates that get in office, that they never pass a policy that would harm someone, okay? Because the goal is to do unto others as you would do unto yourself. Treat others how you want to be treated. So if I'm going to pass a law that's going to affect that in any way, shape, or form, that would be non-libertarian, all right? So a libertarian candidate, if they were to get elected, because you people need to start having some confidence here. We're only going to be able to change the system if we start thinking differently and voting differently. We need to get some candidates in there to see what they can do. So vote different. It's that simple. Once they get elected, then you will see that they won't pass any policies at all that infringe on your rights whatsoever. If you do have one that does, they're not a libertarian. They're just using the libertarian banner, just like there are candidates that use the Democratic banner and the Republican banner to fulfill their own agenda. The Republican Party saw that happen with Donald Trump. He ran multiple times before he ran. People don't even know that. He ran, he was toying around with the idea that he said if he ever were to run, he would run as a Republican because they're stupid. And guess what? He ran as a Republican and he won. So you got to stop being so gullible and claiming to be naive when you need to start taking responsibility for your actions. Stop acting like children and depending on the government to provide for you. We're all adults here. We're trying to create a better environment for the children. So you can't be irresponsible with your choices and then try to blame it on someone. Because I'll say this, don't blame me. I voted for McAfee. All right? All of this stuff that's going on in the nation right now, it's your fault. I voted for McAfee, all right? So it's not on my conscience at all. How is it on yours, though? All right? Rebecca Lau says Soros. Yes, Soros is behind Black Lives Matter. Thank you for sharing, Rebecca. We need to start educating each other and sharing this information, as well as the small connections on who's really pulling the strings behind these organizations and individuals. Joshua says, I think BLM is funded by Soros. You're correct. As I was saying to you before, through all of this, we need people in the Libertarian Party. That's what I hope that you've gathered. And doesn't matter what your walk of life is, doesn't matter what your philosophy of life may be. It don't matter. We need you, and we need to come together. We need to have a united front. This revolution won't happen without you. All right? So please be sure to vote different, vote Libertarian, vote Wildstar 2018, because I will be running for mayor of Anaheim. So if you'd like to help me with that, I got my crowd pack up. Pledge a donation, please. And as I said, I will be instrumental in making sure that the candidates that have been able to proceed through to the top 2 in November actually win. That would be Mimi Robson. That would be Chris Stair. That would be Justin Quigley, my boy Quigley, as well as Jeff Hewitt. And I may be missing some others, but if you qualify to proceed through to the top 2 in November, look forward to me helping you. I've probably already called you already, so if you haven't responded to my call, please contact me. Still have my email, telephone number, whatever. Just reach out to me, all right? So, to all of you out there, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope all of the candidates that may have felt slighted by what I have said don't take things to heart too much. As I was told, no hard feelings, right? It's just politics. All right, I got to go have some dinner, y'all. But till next time, much love, peace and blessings, and long live liberty. All right, I got a few comments before I go. Nelson says, thank you, Nicholas. Still proud and stand by my vote for Gov. Thank you so much. I appreciate your vote, and we got to be proud of each other, and I'm proud of you, Nelson, and I'm proud of everyone who voted Libertarian and voted for me. I got nearly 6,500 votes. Woohoo! All right. So that's wonderful, but we definitely need to step that up if we want to make sure that we get some candidates in office, and Libertarians especially, to see what they can do. So you're not going to get rid of me that easily. I'll be back. I'll be running again. I'll be running constantly, and I need you all to keep running also. So get involved in the Libertarian Party, become a member, become a volunteer to help us candidates that are running, or if you want to become a candidate yourself, become a Libertarian today. All right? Till then, peace.